Guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk to you about my thoughts about testosterone optimization and like how to go about optimizing your testosterone. So obviously testosterone is a very important thing. Makes your life brilliant if you have good levels of testosterone. Your mood's better. As a guy, that is. I mean, girls need it as well. Like this, I don't really know the exact science behind it, but I know that as a guy, it's very important to have good levels of testosterone. Makes you much more productive, much more happy. You can have a much better dating life. I think probably settle down with the best kind of partner. If you have high levels of testosterone and you find a girl who's attracted to that, I think you can build a really nice relationship on that basis. But if you're watching this video, you probably know quite a lot about the advantages anyway. And you're probably more interested in how actually to go about increasing it. And I think there are two schools of thought with it. And I did a video about sleep that's I think is quite similar. There's a similar kind of approach towards sleep and dating girls and now testosterone optimization as well. So there are two things to consider with testosterone. Number one is there are practical things that you can do, and a lot of these, if you've watched lots of videos on testosterone, you're probably aware of them. Things like getting sunlight, getting 8 hours of sleep a night, going to the gym, doing leg day, meditating to avoid stress, you know, all these kind of things, being around women, competitive environment, you know, there's this kind of, well actually, we'll come back to like being around women in competitive environment, but I think the thing that people always say to increase testosterone is sort of, there's a very sort of naturalistic approach towards it, where it's sort of, you know, sunlight, exercise, all that kind of stuff. But I think that stuff's important. But what I think is the real killer that's going to improve testosterone for most men is the mindset with which you live life. And I think that can be instilled without all the other things. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically I think it means having an abundance mentality and realising that in life, if you're prepared to go through a lot of hard work and if you make a plan and put in a lot of work, you can get the life you want. And that a lot of people don't think like that, and as a result, their body doesn't feel the same need to produce testosterone. Because they're like, well, because you need testosterone to get that kind of stuff done, you know. And that's why I said, I'll just come back to things like competition and being around girls. I actually put those kind of things in that category because they're so key in producing testosterone. It's kind of the same kind of thing. It's the mindset that I put that in a kind of mindset category. So I think this isn't to downplay the effect that sunlight, 8 hours of sleep, you know, cold showers, leg day, all the rest of it. That's not to downplay the effect that all the other things have on producing testosterone. Absolutely not. But it is worth remembering that I think all that stuff you can do, and you'll see some increase in testosterone, but if you really want the effects of these sort of secondary things like sunlight, exercise, everything else, you need that mindset to sort of crown it on top of it, to really expand the effects. And it's the same with sleep. You know, you can have all the best, you know, dim your curtains, have a cool room, you know, warm shower before you go to bed, meditation, all those kind of things. But if the minute you get to sleep, you're anxious about, about going to sleep, and you're sort of, you're thinking, oh God, like I need to get good night's sleep tonight. All that's worthless, because you've got a bad attitude towards sleep, and your night's going to be ruined. There's sort of more important thing above the sort of physical stuff. And similarly with getting girls, you can be the best looking guy, good assets, dress well. That's going to help you enormously. But the real killer is that you're a competent guy who isn't trying to get with women just to, who's not desperate, basically. You're not desperate. You're not going to beg it with the girl. You're going to see how things come, see how things go. And that's what really makes a difference. And it's the exact same with testosterone. Do all these other things, yes, but you need that that sort of shining overall purpose to really illuminate all the other physiological things you're doing. And just to finish this off, I think, maybe you're not quite convinced, but think about people who worked in the Industrial Revolution in this country, and were working in these factories, hard jobs. These men who are supporting their families on, just getting paid not very much money. They're working 7 hours a day for their entire life, just so they can support their family in, in some, shitty little flats. And the pollution's horrible in London. Their hands are blistered from the days of work. All this kind of stuff. It's do you think those guys who were able to sustain that kind of life had higher levels of testosterone than us? And for me, it's a resounding yes, they must have. They must have had to have had really high levels of testosterone, because they had a real sort of North Star that they were going towards, which was they had to provide for their family, right? So their body was like, fuck, we need to produce testosterone. And, the conditions that they're working under is pretty horrendous for testosterone optimization. Can't imagine they were getting the best sleep. They didn't have light bulbs, obviously, but, it was kind of dusk till dawn hustle, if you will. So not getting good sleep. Sunlight wouldn't have been great because they've been working in very built-up areas where they wouldn't have got a lot of sunlight. Probably working in factories from dusk till dawn, like I said, anyway. So they probably didn't see the sun rise or the sun set. Pollution was horrible, but which I'm sure is bad for your testosterone as well. They're not eating a high protein diet. They're not doing leg day. I guess they're doing a lot of physical labour, so that one they probably do get ticked off. But you get what I mean, guys. In this situation, they weren't fantastically prepared. They weren't optimising for testosterone, and yet the kind of testosterone levels that these guys probably had in order to live the life they lived was just sort of towers in comparison to ours. And and yet you can do all these other habits today, sit outside and eat your breakfast to get sunlight, or lift weights and get 8 hours of sleep a night, and yet it's not going to be. You're still not going to be quite as high up as these guys who are working in the factories in the Industrial Revolution. Now, ideally, I think you want both. So, I think there are situations in life where you get both, and I think I'm not really encouraging being an industrial worker as the best way to go in life. I think you think about how imagine being a Spartan in living in Sparta, in ancient Greece, I mean, the kind of testosterone they must have had, by our rationale, would have been amazing, because there you do have that high purpose. You're a sort of very violent society, and your fights to live, basically. Like, there were sort of contests that little boys would play, like, to becoming a man. You'd have sort of flagellation of young children as they were sort of going from boyhood to manhood. Fights between between people all the time, and lots of the time people would die. So they had that kind of purpose that is similar to the people in the Industrial Revolution, but then also they're living in a very natural environment. They don't have artificial sunlight, so they have a sort of routine that's in keeping with their natural circadian rhythm. So as a result, they gain good sleep. Fuck knows what their diet would be like, but I'd imagine there's quite a lot of hunting involved. So, I mean, that's a whole other debate, like what diet's good for testosterone. I know a lot of people think you don't need animal protein for testosterone, so maybe we'll leave that for another time. But they're probably getting quite a sort of typically what we'd assume is like a good diet for testosterone, lots of game. Although that's a more contentious issue. They exercise, probably a lot of exercise that is comparable to our modern culture of weightlifting, not identical, but a lot of that, which is good for testosterone. They're not in contact with plastics at all, which is also good for testosterone. And I would say, out of the three situations we've explored today, the modern guy who's trying to improve testosterone by doing all these positive habits, the Victorian industrial worker in the Industrial Revolution, and the Spartan warrior. I think the Spartan warrior comes out best on top when it comes to testosterone, because he has both the purpose and the habits, and like, he wouldn't have known what the habits were and how it would have optimized testosterone. He didn't even fucking know what it was, but he had it. So I think I'm encouraging people to do both, is to both embrace the habits, the good habits, like going to sleep early, working out, getting sunlight, but don't be disappointed if you don't see the effects on their own, because to really compound the effects of these things, you need some kind of purpose, whether that's a business or I mean, it can be anything, just a fitness goal. It doesn't have to be some big, micey purpose like people in the past had, like raising a family or defending your tribe. I mean, fantastic if it is, but you can just start small, really. It could just be a fitness goal, could just be wanting to get a better career, like a promotion at work, getting good grades in, like better grades in if you're in school or if you're at university, like getting a good grade in your subjects, these kind of things. I think you need something like that along with just increasing testosterone to see the results. So I hope you found this helpful, guys. If you want more of this stuff, I would really recommend, Hamza had a good video on this, which I'll try and link in the description if I can find it. I literally always say I'm going to link stuff and I never do, but I'll link it in this one. Yeah, at some point I'll just get around to just linking all the stuff that I said I would. But yeah, have a look at that. But if I haven't linked it, just check out Increased Testosterone Hamza and you'll find it. And then First Man does more videos about the kind of scientific, like physiological stuff that I've talked a bit about here, like getting good sleep, avoiding microplastics, kind of what to prioritise. So I'll definitely check those out as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.